Hello, everyone, and behind me is the Cathedral of St. Mauritius and Catharina, the burial site of the very first official Holy Roman Emperor, Otto the Great. Now, today we're going to be giving you a tour of Otto the Great's gravesite and the cathedral, as well as screaming his name for smash, or at least saying his name for smash, because we're not allowed to yell in cathedrals. It's disrespectful, so we're not going to do that. But we're going to be doing that today. A little bit of background behind this cathedral. It was originally constructed in 1201, which was about 300 years after Otto's death. And during World War II, the city of Magdeburg here in Germany, it was completely destroyed. It wasn't completely destroyed, but was bombed severely during World War II. And you can kind of see remnants of the cathedral. The cathedral suffered great damage during the bombings, fire bombings of Magdeburg, and that's why the bricks look dark, is because this building was on fire during the war. But it did survive, and all of the windows were destroyed as well on this cathedral. So anyway, we're going to be going through a biography of Otto the Great's life and showing you his gravesite. So without further ado, let's go. Otto the Great is important because he set up the Holy Roman Empire, which would last for 900 years after his death, which is very significant, and dominated Central Europe for almost a millennium. Otto the Great's father was a Saxon duke named Henry the Fowler, who was, like I said, started off as the Duke of Saxony. He became king of East Francia in 919 AD. And during his reign, he had many goals for East Francia. The goals of uniting the dukedoms and establishing central authority with the king. And he was supposed to be crowned emperor of the Romans. However, he was not able to do so and ended up dying in 936. Thus, he planted the seeds for his son Otto to fulfill during his reign, which he did. Otto the Great became king of East Francia in 936 AD and fulfilled a lot of the goals that his father, Henry the Fowler, had initiated. Otto the Great was initially married to Edith, the Princess of Wessex, the daughter of Edward the Elder, up in England at the time, which wasn't England yet, but it was part of Wessex, which was a kingdom, an Anglo-Saxon kingdom in England. She died young, and Otto then married in 951 Adelheid, who was the widow of King Lothair II of Italy. He rescued her from being held captive by Berengar II in Italy, who usurped the Italian throne in 950. Otto rescued her, and then they ended up getting married in 951. Otto is famous for having defeated the Magyars, a Hungarian tribe who invaded southern Germany in 955 at the Battle of Lechfeld. And so he gained a lot of fame from that. And eventually in 962, he was crowned by Pope John XII as the very first Holy Roman Emperor. And he was the first person to be crowned emperor in Western Europe since 924, with the last emperor before him being Berengar of Friuli down in Italy. He was the first emperor in 40 years. There was no emperor in Western Europe for 40 years. And during Otto's reign as Holy Roman Emperor, a lot of the standards changed in Central Europe. He united all of the dukedoms that were at war. A lot of rebellions happened early on in his reign amongst even his own family and the dukes within his kingdom. So he helped unite them together and put down all of the rebellions. Otto was also a proponent of theocratic rule. He replaced a lot of the secular leaders within the Holy Roman Empire. He replaced them with bishops and the clergy, who had most of the authority. He also asserted dominance over the Pope and ended up deposing Pope John XII, the one who crowned him, in favor of a new pope. And many of the popes during his rule were actually controlled by him. Otto is rare in that he was the only one of the few monarchs in Europe, one of the few secular monarchs in Europe to actually assert dominance over the dominions of the Pope. Because if you know anything about medieval hierarchy, the kings of Europe always had to abide by what the Pope wanted, because the Pope listened to God himself, and God was the highest authority in the land, and the Pope always abided by that. And so all of the kings in Europe were supposed to assert to the Pope. Now, Otto made a huge change within the Holy Roman Empire, because the clergy and the cardinals down in the Papal States, when electing the Pope, had to get imperial approval by the emperors uh, by the emperors of the Holy Roman Empire before the Pope could be chosen, which is huge. And that was a big thing that Otto did. And he transferred a lot of the authority from secular leaders to the church, which is huge. And God was the main authority within the Holy Roman Empire. And that's what Otto wanted. And so he set up that. And that is why it's called the Holy Roman Empire, because it was the church had the authority within the Holy Roman Empire. And Otto appointed bishops and a bunch of clergymen and everything so that the church could lead the empire. Obviously, Otto had the most authority, being the emperor, and he asserted dominance over the papal dominions, which is huge. And that's one of the things he did. Otto was also the first of the Ottonian dynasty to rule the Holy Roman Empire, and he ended up dying in 973 AD at the age of 60. He's buried here in Magdeburg, Germany. He left the throne to his son, Otto II, who was 18 at the time and was crowned Holy Roman Emperor after him. And then we get his grandson, Otto III, in 983. And Otto also founded the Ottonian dynasty, like I said. So Otto the Great set the standard for what the Holy Roman Empire would be and dominate Central Europe for the next 900 years until 1806. And so his standards lasted for a long time. So Otto the Great is remembered for that. And there's a huge bronze statue of him in downtown Magdeburg. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's like a gold-looking bust of him. And so that is awesome. So without further ado, let's go check out the grave of Otto the Great. So right here is a model of the city of Magdeburg, Germany. Just kind of like a model of it. And down here on the ground, we have plates of in memorial of the Ottonian dynasty right here, which ruled the East Franks in the Holy Roman Empire between 919 and 1024, from Henry the Fowler all the way to Heinrich II, who was the last Ottonian in 1024. So some different memorials. We'll just check them out, just to honor the whole Ottonian dynasty. So this is Heinrich I. He's known in English as Henry the Fowler. He was the king of East Francia from 919 to 936. He was born in 876. He was Otto's father, and his wife as well there, Matilda. The next Ottonian king was Otto I. Obviously started out as king of East Francia, and then he became a Holy Roman Emperor. He lived from 912 to 973. He was king from 936 and Kaiser from 962, which Kaiser is the German term for emperor. And then his first wife was Edith of Wessex, and then his second wife, Adelheid, right there, which he married in those respective years. Here's his wife, Edith of Wessex, like I said, the daughter of Edward the Elder in Wessex, which is in modern-day England. She is the wife that is buried with him in here. Adelheid, his second wife right here, was later actually made a saint within the Catholic Church. She is buried elsewhere. Edith, is his first wife, is the one that's buried with him here at Magdeburg. She died in 999, and she served as empress from 962 to 973. Here is Otto's successor, his son and heir, Otto II, who lived from 955 to 983. He was only 28 when he died. He ruled the Holy Roman Empire for 10 years. He became king in 973, and these are his wives here as well. So he ruled the Holy Roman Empire for 10 years between 973 and 983. And then this is one of the empresses here, Theophanu, 960 to 991. Here's the memorial to Otto's grandson, the successor to Otto II, Otto III. He is actually buried in Aachen at the cathedral, same place where Charlemagne is buried. And fun fact about this, Otto the Great is actually considered to be the second Charlemagne, is kind of his nickname, because of the fact that Charlemagne united all the Franks. Otto did basically the same thing. And if you argue, a lot of people argue that Charlemagne was the first Holy Roman Emperor. If you know anything about my channel, I personally consider Otto the Great to be the first Holy Roman Emperor. But even if you argue that Charlemagne was the first Holy Roman Emperor, you can't deny that the Holy Roman Empire itself wouldn't exist without Otto the Great. Because if you don't get Otto the Great, you don't get a united empire, and it probably would have crumbled without Otto the Great because he solidified it. So he gets the credit for that. So that's Otto the Third. He ruled the Holy Roman Empire from 983 to 1002. He was crowned king of Germany at the age of 3 years old in 983. So he was born in 980, and he was crowned emperor by the Pope at 16 years old, and then he died in 1002 at the age of 22. So he was really young, and then the throne jumped to a cousin from there, who became Henry II. So this was the last Ottonian emperor. His name was Heinrich II. Heinrich is German for Henry. He lived from 973 to 1024, and he became emperor in 1014 and ruled the Holy Roman Empire for a total of 22 years as emperor for 10 years. So that is all of the Ottonian rulers. The only one buried here is Otto the Great, so we're going to go see his grave in the cathedral. So here's a depiction of Otto right here. I can tell that's him because of his curly hair. And in all of Otto the Great's depictions, he has that curly hair, that long curly hair there. And so that's him holding the coronation places. He was coronated as king in Aachen, which is the same place where Charlemagne's buried and was thus the capital of Charlemagne's empire. So a lot of this derived from Charlemagne's time. Oh, let me show. There's a giant bird on top of his head there. That's pretty classic. Guess he's got a nest up there. What a place to be born, on the crown of Otto the Great right there. That is amazing. That is a big bird too. There's big birds here in Europe. Unless there's two of them there. Is there two of them there? Maybe maybe they're doing something else. All right, so we're inside the Magdeburg Cathedral right here with some graves of various people here. There's a model of the place. Pretty cool. His grave wasn't over there. It's over here somewhere. All right. No, I don't think so. There's someone here. There's a bishop. Bishop right here. It's got like a red cross on top of it. Here's a World War I memorial. Another bishop right here. St. Maurice, Mauritius. That's who the cathedral is named after. What is it? So they just did some worship ceremony service thing. So we just had to stop and watch while wait, because I couldn't find the gravestone. I think it's in here, the coffin of Otto, and they have his bones placed in there. I don't think we can go in though. They did a dedication some point recently, and it's in here. This might be the closest we can get to it. So yeah, I guess they brought it out here or something. Archbishop Gunther, 1445. So this is probably the closest we can get to it. So we're going to do the first smash right here. Otto the Great. Otto the Great for smash! Yeah, it's in this. It's in this right here. Yeah. Check his stuff out. This is the middle area. So there's his coffin right there on the screen. Guess they only bring it out for certain events. Yeah. That's Otto Magnus Imperator. So you can only really visit it on certain events. So I think is what it is. And so they'll show a picture of the coffin. This is kind of what it looks like. They're going to show his bones, and those bones are placed in there. Just wait a little bit. There it is. That's his bones right there. Otto. It's his skull and his arms and legs and stuff. That's cool. So that's what it looks like inside of the coffin right here. That's his skull. That is the Otto the Great right there. Over 1,000 years old. That's awesome. All right, guys, that's going to conclude the tour of the gravesite of Otto the Great. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.